Hey guys, David with Wholesaling Partners and the Wholesalers Toolbox here with my my DealMachine sidekick, Matt Camp. And we want to hop on today and make a video for those of you that want to get into wholesaling and have determined that driving for dollars is your route or your marketing channel that you're going to pursue. When I started in wholesaling, it's what I decided I wanted to do. I was coming out of the, some other, I've been in mortgage and I'd been doing some corporate stuff in my career. And I didn't want to, make cold calls all day. I didn't want to sit behind a desk. I didn't want to do it that way. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to get in the car and I'm going to drive and I'm going to find properties and I'm going to do it that way. And I'm going to do it until I get a deal done. Well, get in the car, start driving. I hit it hard every day day in, day out. And first 30 days had 6 deals under contract, 30 days just from driving for dollars. Closed 5 of them. One of them was, by a railroad track. Nobody wanted it, but still closed 5 deals from driving for dollars for 30 days. And so anybody that I've talked to over the years coming into the business, I said, you know what, if you don't have a lot of money for marketing and you don't want to do all this crazy stuff and CRMs and websites and all that stuff, drive for dollars, get DealMachine and drive for dollars. So today, I just want to kind of, with Matt, go through the whole process with you and explain what I did, what to look for when we're out driving for dollars, and then how you can use DealMachine to really amplify those efforts. So, when I started, I didn't have DealMachine. I didn't start using it until later on. And if I would have had it that first 30 days, I probably would have done 12 deals the first 30 days. So Matt, you want to introduce yourself real quick and before we get rolling here and tell everybody what you do over there at DealMachine and
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm the DealMachine sidekick. There we go. Right. So Matt Camp over here, run partnerships over here. David, I always love coming on with you. Excited to give people the latest and greatest on how to go out there and take a process that, like you said, it's been around forever. We didn't come up with driving for dollars. Like that's something that's been proven over a long time. It's just a matter of how do you use technology to do that way more efficiently, way more effectively, be more successful as a newbie, doing your first deal, be more successful as somebody who's scaling. And maybe you think you're past driving for dollars as a strategy. Well, hey, maybe you can use technology to be able to take that to the next level and add that into your repertoire, like add that in as another way you're finding deals. I think on my end, like we love teaming up from a standpoint of giving exclusive trainings as well. Like I know we're going to be starting up that series within Wholesaling Partners for you guys too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll be coming on and doing all kinds of trainings for you guys there. So make sure you're part of that community. But I know on my end, everything that I share is both personal experience. I'm in the St. Louis market. Anybody out here always looking to team up, but also looking at our data. And we've had over 10,000 deals done using the DealMachine app. It's a milestone we hit last year. I'm really proud to say, and really, we wouldn't be in business if we're not, making our clients successful there, right? So people using the DealMachine app and our hundreds of interviews we have on our YouTube channel as well of people laying out exactly how they're going to do deals in every single state. We've had deals done in all kinds of different markets. We've been doing this for, we started 2016, 2017, so we've been around for a little bit now and have really continued to evolve. And that's why these trainings, like it's great to show off what's new with us as well, because we're always continuing to help you take it to the next level and keep finding either that first deal or your first 100, right? So
yeah, and I just want to point out before we start here that I've done this with the Wholesalers Toolbox and now Wholesaling Partners. I've talked to people for 11 years that have, getting into the wholesaling business, that they're going out and working and finding deals. And especially for newbies, by far, the biggest marketing channel that they're getting deals from is driving for dollars, right? More than letters, more than text messages and all that other nonsense you hear. If you just roll up your sleeves and you get out there and you hit the streets, you're going to be more successful than people fooling around with all that other stuff, because you're learning your market, you're finding deals nobody else knows about, and you're doing it better. So
yeah, and I know on our end too. I mean, we've got other methods. Inside DealMachine, you can use data to find leads, and I can touch on a couple of those things briefly too. But like driving for dollars, absolutely, that is the number one channel to go out there, find your first deal, especially. But in general, like when we're looking at what is the best ratio of number of leads to a deal, like what is the least number of leads you need to get on your list and be actively working to go land a deal, driving for dollars is that method. And really, in general, like you said, they're the most motivated sellers out there. Like if you're driving around and you're finding those houses that have the roof in bad shape, or broken windows, or gutters falling off and siding's a mess, and front yard, backyard's in rough shape, or weeds growing through the concrete, like what those signs that it's a house that's a fixer that needs some help. Those are properties that, again, it's the number one indicator of somebody who doesn't want to deal with this property anymore,
right,
or can't deal with it anymore, and has a problem that you can come in and solve for them. But they're also the least competitive leads out there too, because it takes you getting out there to find those diamonds in the rough. Like it takes you and going to search for those properties that don't necessarily show up on any other list. Like you are earning that list. You're putting in the sweat equity that not everyone's willing to do. And so if you can take that extra step, like you said, I mean, you did 5, 6 deals in the first 30 days. Like that is the way to do it, is to find those people who are motivated that way. So. Yeah.
So good lead in though, talking about, what you're looking for when you're out there driving for dollars. So I want to talk about that for a minute. So when you decide you're going to drive for dollars, so we've got the video playing here where you can like see a neighborhood here, but you're going to, pick an area that, for me, it was, I wanted to pick a good, I would say blue collar neighborhood, upper lower class to middle class neighborhood, right? You can go try to wholesale mansions, right? And it's going to be hard to do. There's not a lot of people looking for those to fix and flip or to hold as rental properties. And you don't want to go into an area where half the houses are burnt out, right? Because nobody's really looking to buy there. So you're looking for properties that a lot of people are looking to buy, right? 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, right? Typical neighborhood kind of style house, right? So identify those neighborhoods or those cities in your market. Okay, where are investors buying? Where are people buying that I can go look for property? Now, when you do that, plot it out, right? You can do a map in DealMachine. Get up, just pull up Google Maps and just figure it out, right? Okay, I'm going to pick this city. It's what I did. All right. Metro Detroit. I picked Allen Park was my first city. And I said, I'm going to drive up and down every street in Allen Park and look for vacant houses, right? That was it. No other criteria. I wasn't going to go online and see what their mortgage balance was. I was, none of that, right? I'm going to drive every day up and down streets and look for vacant houses. And I did that. And I, find a house, and I had a door letter that I will give everybody watching this video. But I had a door letter that says, hey, I'm a local investor, was doing some deals in your neighborhood, spotted your house, thought, I drop a note off and see if you're interested in selling it. Here's my phone number. Boom. Tape it on the door, go to the next one. Now with DealMachine, you can add to that. You can put a note on the door. You can put them into DealMachine, mark the property, start sending a postcard, right? Set a postcard campaign. And I'll let you get into this too, Matt, but now all the contact information for all the properties comes with your subscription to DealMachine. So there's no more skip tracing, right? So when you go into a property card in DealMachine, all the owner information is there, right? If it's available. So you've got cell numbers, you've got email addresses, right? So you can be sitting in front of the house and call and say, hey, I'm sitting over here in front of your house in Allen Park or in Baltimore or wherever you're at. And, I'm a local investor. Just wanted to see if, you were interested in selling this thing. Boom, done. right? And send it, they don't answer, send them a postcard. On to the next one. But that's what you have to do, is just pick an area, work it, right? So you're looking for vacant houses. You're looking for tall grass. You're looking for, the houses, deteriorating or, damage in some way. In the winter, snow stacking up. Papers laying on the front porch. Another good one is just absence of any personal items. So there's no hose, there's no porch furniture. There's nothing to indicate somebody's living there. Maybe trash days on, Tuesday, and it's Friday and the can's still sitting out in front because somebody pulled it out, but nobody took it back. You're just looking for clues that the house is vacant, that it's, sometimes you won't be able to instantly tell, but as you drive and as you do this, you'll get really good at going, that house, something about that house tells me it's vacant. It might have drapes in it, and the grass is cut, but something's up, right? Because there's no hose, there's no toys, there's no plants, there's no nothing. And you'll be like, I think I better put a note on that one. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Things like the overstuffed mailbox, those little indicators that like you said, it's a property that is much more likely to be one that the owner's either not taken care of and doesn't want anymore, or is a spot where they aren't able to. And those are the people who you can really bring a lot of value to as a wholesaler. So
yeah. And even you mentioned the mailbox, even now, a lot of times they'll take the mailbox off. So there won't be a mailbox, right? So that's an indicator too. So, you just have to get out. And once you do this for a day, right, you go out, 9:00 in the morning or whatever, grab a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts or wherever you get your coffee at, and start driving. And by afternoon, you're going to be a pro. At first you're going to be driving down the street. You're going to be like this. And then after lunch, you're going to spot them 3 blocks away. You're going to be like, that one's vacant. That one's vacant. Right. So you just have to do it, right? Get out, do it. And again, I'll give you the, the door card or the door letter that I used and all that stuff. But all right. So now we're to the point where we start finding properties, right? Start finding vacant properties. So Matt, let's talk about when we find a property, what DealMachine will do for us once we're driving. How's DealMachine play into what we're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you nailed it too, in terms of getting out there, picking an area, even just driving around to different routes around town that, maybe you're on your way to work or what have you too, like just kind of training yourself to look for these properties and always have that investor cap on, and you'll keep getting better and better at this. You can use data a little bit as well to really outline and say like, hey, how many, in DealMachine, how many properties fit, how many are in this area that fit this particular value and have been recently sold. You'll kind of start to identify those hot areas using data that way too. But once you're driving around and you're identifying houses, if you want to share my screen here, David, I can pull this up for us.
I'm going to do that.
I can show you guys step by step in here. Here's what it looks like. So inside DealMachine, going through, step one, again, it's driving around, it's looking for those properties, it's identifying, the physical distress there, it's identifying those vacant houses. Once you've done that in real life, if I pull that over here on DealMachine, what I'm showing off is the desktop version right here, but there's also the mobile app as well, so that anything you do here or there, it syncs up instantly. If you're out actually driving around physically, you're probably using the mobile app, right? But what this is going to look like, you've got either this standard grid view. You can switch over to satellite to be able to make it, identify them that way, by roof. That also is a nice way to do it. But going in here, you'll notice all these black dots start to pop up. And if I'm driving down, Crystal Drive right here, and I see 950 Crystal in real life, and if it's in, bad condition, if it's one of those vacant houses, all I got to do is click on it in the mobile app, just like I'm seeing in real life. Touch on it in the mobile app. It pulls up that property card right here for you, and you've got the opportunity to add that lead. And by lead, we just mean somebody who is a potentially motivated seller. It's a house that is qualified by you driving around and finding it that way, putting in the work to do that. When you hit add lead, it's in your system. At that point, you're starting to build your list that, again, no one else has. You're earning that list of properties that, you'll see that little blue pin right here on the map. That means that it is added into my system for me to take the next step of, trying to actually have a conversation with that owner. So As simple as that. Don't overthink it. Drive around, add properties this way. It's going to lock onto your location while you're driving to make it really easy to use. As you're doing this as well, I'll mention like you'll start to see route tracking kick in as well. So as you're driving down the street, as I'm driving down Crystal Drive right here, you'll see a little green line pop up behind me. And, that green line in 6 months, it's going to turn yellow. In 12 months, it's going to turn red. So like David, I know you said you knocked out those 5-6 deals in the first 30 days. Like that's great. You can save a ridiculous amount of time by route tracking as well, and being able to really cover entire communities.
Yeah.
And we've been even more effective by having that route tracking built in. But as you look visually at the map in 6 months, when you're really doing deals and you look and see like, oh man, this whole area is all yellow now, and I did a couple of deals over there. Like that is a great opportunity, a good visual cue to go back over there and redrive it. Like it is worth going back and using this as a way to just cover entire areas as efficiently as possible. So
yeah, when I did, because I was trying to hit every street, every nook and cranny, every cul-de-sac, everything, right? So back before DealMachine, because this is well before you guys launched. Mm-hmm. So I went to the bookstore and bought a street atlas of Metro Detroit, and I had a highlighter, and I would just highlight where I'd been. Yeah. And, because I just wanted to keep track of it. And I knew that, it's like you said, 6 months, I might want to come back in and hit it again, right? And hit the same area again. But with DealMachine, guys, it just draws a line for you. And, with the, it's what package is that on? You've got
that's on all of them now.
All of them now.
Yeah,
that's even better. So no matter what package you have, it's going to show your route where you've been. And so you can pull up and you can say, all right, I've already been there. Now I'm going to work this area. Now I'm going to work. And you just keep moving along through all the, the blue collar neighborhoods or middle-class neighborhoods that you want to hit. So it's great. Saves you money on buying a map every 6 months at the bookstore.
True.
And it just, and it makes it so much easier, right?
Absolutely.
So another thing that happened, right, when back in the olden days when we were driving for dollars, so you would go out and you would do that, and a lot of people would just take a yellow legal pad with them or a notebook, and they would write down the address, right? Mm-hmm. Every time they saw a vacant house, they write down the address, and they would come back in the evening or that weekend or whatever and start skip tracing. They'd go on the county website or wherever, and they'd pull up who the owner was, and then they would have to skip trace the owner. They would put it in, white pages online and, and all these different things to try to come up with a phone number, or they would just mail them, right? Because, here's the tax billing address, so they mail them. So let's talk about how DealMachine just eliminates all that work.
Absolutely.
Completely.
Yeah. So, again, as you're getting out there, you're driving around, you're tracking your routes. I will mention as well, you can do this virtually too. I mean, I always prefer in person, but if you're in a situation where you don't have a car, or you're based somewhere that you want to wholesale, across the country, do it virtual, you do have that option too. So this little orange button will let you essentially use Google Street Image inside DealMachine as well. So you can, add leads this way and do the same exact process, but do it through DealMachine virtually too. Mm-hmm. But as you go through all of that, the next step from there, and here there's a little route tracking for you, route summary.
Right,
you can pull up old routes and stuff like that here too. But as you go through all this, you're building your list, right? You're starting to add these properties. The next step with that is now you've filled your pipeline with leads. What do you do with those leads? How do you take action on them? How do you turn them from just addresses that are a ton of potential deals, and actually make deals happen? How do you have really exciting conversations with potentially motivated sellers here? This leads tab is where all of those are going to go. So we're on the map right here, right? So far, you click on leads, and that's going to take you over to my overall bucket of leads. I've got almost 3,000 inside DealMachine right here. Here's the one I just showed you guys that I pinned on Crystal Drive before. You'll notice I added that property. I've added these other properties. I never hit the skip trace button. There's no
skip trace button.
There's no skip tracing. Yeah, it's our whole goal on our end is to really kill the skip trace. Like we want to make it so that you're never nickeled and dimed. Like you pay for the subscription. And that's all you need to do. Like you can send direct mail. That's the other option we can get into here in a bit. But if you want contact info to reach out to these folks, you already have that built into DealMachine ready to go for you, where it'll tell you, even they're like, when they're on the do not call list, it'll have that label there for you. And if I want to get in touch with Denise right here, I've got, and again, you can, we can blur these afterwards.
I will blur it. Yeah.
Yeah. But going in here for Denise, like, hey, cool. You know what? I've got 2 phone numbers right here. One's on the do not call list. One is wireless, active right now. Perfect. That's the number to call Denise. Fantastic. You've got phone number, or you've got email addresses right here to take action on as well. Anything you want in terms of contact information, in terms of really helping immediately take action on that, is built into DealMachine now, where it's unlimited on the map. Any property I click on in the map is going to give you that. If you pull and save those leads, even on our starter plan, that's a $99 a month plan, it is saving 10,000 leads total for you. That alone, I mean, that would be at least $1,000 of skip tracing typically. Like,
yeah,
that is, we're trying to just make it an absolute no-brainer to go in here and try this stuff out. And also too, if you don't, if you're not adding leads this way, if you have any property addresses outside of DealMachine, you just click on add leads and import your list from anywhere else. If you built a list in any other way, just add that list into DealMachine, and it's going to backfill all of this data for you, all of our contact information, all of that built in right there, and property data too. Like, you can go through this, and really the unique blend for us of data that can make you most successful. It's the contact information that we're showing here that's included for free. It's already built in. Like, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get free shipping. If you're a DealMachine member, you get free contact data.
Right.
That's built in. That's 1. 2 is the property data. So being able to see, we've got 2 more, first and second mortgage on this property. You can see the characteristics of this property. You can see the land info, tax information,
interest rate, balance, payment. Yeah.
All that stuff. Even estimated rehab costs. I mean, that's, a projection overall, but like, still really, really helpful to have. All of that, is built in. So you've got this contact info, you've got this property data, and then the final thing is the demographic data, which is a whole nother thing that is super, super helpful to be able to tap into for calling, for direct marketing through mail, for door knocking, for anything that you're going to have this direct conversation with this individual. Go in here and take a look and see. We've got contact info built in where it'll tell you more about their situation. It'll tell you here, hey, this is a senior owner. You can learn more about their background. You can know even things like marital status, even things like portfolio, that do they own other properties, more about their individual occupation. Just get to know that person with a little bit of due diligence rather than having to search all over the web for this stuff. We just make it really easy for you, built in right there. So that way, before you knock on the door, or before you even go give them a call, you're coming in a way, way better spot, an unfair advantage compared to the general, cold caller, right?
Now, I wouldn't suggest going in and saying, hey, I know you're 78 and own 12 houses, right?
Sure. Have a little tap.
Use it as like, just keep it in your mind, but you don't have to articulate all the things that you know.
Yeah.
Before we move on, Matt, let's talk about, because everybody asked me about this, the quality of the skip trace data. Let's talk. Let's hit on that for a minute, because because for anybody that's already used this in DealMachine and this data that they're putting in there, the contact data, it's really good. I mean, like, nothing's perfect, but this is really good. So tell me about like where you guys get this from and how you validate it.
Yeah, so I'll say first and foremost, like, I'd love for you guys to just try it yourself. I know compare us to anything out there. We're very, very confident in that. So. I know we'll share this at the end or what have you, but we do have like a 7-day free trial set up for you guys. So that way you can try this out for yourself and compare us to anything else. Make it, just do that for free and be able to kind of see how that is. And again, you can import a list into DealMachine too, through this add leads button. So that way you're also able to use this on any, even if you're not driving around, you can do this, really, really quick and easy yourself. In terms of the data quality, I'll say first and foremost, where we're getting this from. This is the same data provider that a ton of the telco companies, like the spam calls that come in, they're using it. A ton of the financial institutions, when they are looking at things like compliance and fraud and these really sensitive topics, they're using this data still. 911 call centers, same data that they're using. Like it is top quality data where we really invested in that and said, hey, if we go over the top in terms of delivering quality, make a bet that like, hey, is this going to over deliver to the point where it's worth the investment for us? And so it's awesome to see the feedback from people of when they're coming in and trying this out themselves and being able to use, come in and drive for dollars or pulling a list using our data right here and then jumping right into using this contact info. Like that is where it's coming from. It's also, we're not actually technically not even skip tracing. What we're doing on our end is on the back end, we're actually engineering this where we are contact matching. We have a database of contacts that we're matching to the mailing address. And so, that's something that's always updating. And you'll notice, like, if you skip trace, you might get 10 plus numbers back and it's old data. You got to re-skip trace it, every, pretty often and spend more and more money updating your list. The reason being is that you're getting data tied to the property. What we're doing is we're actually tying the person to this data. So we're building a database on the back end, and we're technically not even skip tracing. We're trying to kill that. We're trying to give you contact data based on the person that we're building with this process rather than something that's tied to the property itself.
Right. So inside DealMachine, when you've put leads in your list. So we've got Crystal Ave there, we've got Highland there, we've got what is that, Enchanted Parkway. All those properties, if something changes about those properties, the vacancy status or the contact information, that's all going to change real time into the system when they do their update. So you don't have to go back and skip trace, right? If if you've got something on your list, you've built a list in here of vacant properties using the filter, and something becomes occupied, it's going to drop off the list. But then if 3 more properties become vacant, it's going to go on to your list. So it's, they call it a smart list, but it's constantly updating. I get notifications every day, it's with the updates and stuff. But so you guys don't, you can pull lists in here. You don't have to drive for dollars. You can pull lists. And if you do that, it's always updating.
Exactly. Yep. And so you'll see like 9 were added, or 43 were added, 9 were removed, 28 were removed. Like every single day, it's a smart list, like you said. It's a dynamic list that if a property fits your criteria, then it's going to be, and it didn't earlier, it's going to be added. Or if it drops off and doesn't fit your criteria any longer, it'll be removed. So, yeah, absolutely.
So what I'm emphasizing, guys, is probably the best data that you're going to find. Again, nothing's perfect. I mean, somebody's going to shut their cell phone off and, it'll still be on here or something. But it's, as far as data goes, if you're skip tracing, I think this is probably the best you're going to find.
Love it. Yeah. So I'd say that skip tracing data, reaching out that way, that's one of the top marketing strategies people use. There's also the ability to do some door knocking, where if you were to pull a list or import a list into DealMachine, there's a drive this list feature where you've got this specifically on Pro, but it essentially is going to route you the fastest route possible to the entire list and say, hey, here is GPS directions, turn-by-turn navigation to go and door knock or put notes on the door to every single property on this list. So that's super, super helpful for, especially if, you're going to go out there and do some kind of in-person touch point. And then the last thing that people will really use the marketing for inside DealMachine is the direct mail. So we've got a mail center right here where you can build, you have default postcards. You've got about 16 or so postcards that are already pre-built inside DealMachine, ready for you to use, that are all dynamic and update based on your name, based on the owner's name, based on the image of the house. It imports all that for you. Or you can build your own from scratch and, create these templates where you then go and create sequences and say, hey, send them, this template and then this template and then this one and then this one. And you can automatically create this set of them. So that way you're switching up the different postcards getting sent to them. And you just have to hit one button from there. From that point on, you say, hey, hit this one button, turn on this sequence. And now I know over the next 63 days, they're going to get 4 pieces of mail from me and I don't have to touch a thing after that. And I'm going to just wait for the call to come in. So
guys, equally too, you can go in here and build a list of, use the filters, build a list of cash buyers
Yeah.
in a city, and then custom build a postcard for them and say, hey, I noticed that you're buying properties in this area. If I'm a local investor, if I come across any more, would you be interested in me sending them your way if I'm not going to buy them? Or, I'm a wholesaler. Are you looking for deal or whatever? And then you can automate that as well. So when things come on your list, you can just boop, send it to it. Right. And then you're also building your buyers list, right? Automatically.
Absolutely. Yeah. So going in here, like you said, you can use our data to be able to identify cash buyers. You can even identify specifically flippers. So you can go in and say like, hey, owner is a house flipper, right? And, say yes, and be able to see there's none in this picture, but you can be able to do, zoom out and maybe, identify a couple like that. So there's a couple ways to identify these folks that on the back end of the wholesaling process can take your dispo, your dispositions of those houses to the next level too. So
right.
Yeah, love it.
So, okay. So we identify an area, we go out driving for dollars. We put a note on the door. We send them a postcard. We make a phone call. We grab their email and shoot them an email. Guys, you can take my door letter and change it a little bit and make it an email and just zap it out to every house. Say, hey, I drove by this house earlier and I looked you up, and I think this is your email. What are you doing with this property? You're interested in selling it? I'm a local buyer. I'd be interested in talking. And just every day, if you hit 30 vacant houses, send out 30 emails, and, if they've all got email addresses, and it costs you nothing. It costs you nothing to send them out. And it's free marketing. And so they're getting an email from you. They're getting a postcard. You try to call them. You leave a note on the door. I mean, if you're doing all those things with one software, right? What do you think your response rate is going to be to just, instead of just using one strategy, where you're hitting them with 4 different marketing channels? You're going to get a lot more calls. Absolutely. You're going to get a lot more calls. So, and then when I, when I was out hitting the roads hard, what I would do is just kept driving, right? Every chance I got, I'd get out during the day, just drive, put notes on the door, do all this stuff. And then as the calls come in, and I can give you the script, but you just have a conversation with the people, right? They're calling you, so they're motivated, right? They're, if they're inbound, traffic's the best traffic. Cold calling can get rough because you get a lot of people saying, hey, stop calling me, I don't want to hear about it, But if it's inbound, most of your calls are going to be, what? I am looking to sell the property, and then you can say, okay, well, tell me about it. What's going on with it? Why is it vacant? I had a bad tenant. I'm debating if I was going to put another tenant in or just get rid of it. They tore it up. I want to put work in it. And you're just asking them questions, all right, tell me about it. Is it, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms? Have you remodeled it lately? What kind of, if you had to guess, what kind of work does it need? And you're just getting all that information. And if they sound motivated, if they sound like they're, they need to get rid of this property, then you just say, hey, I'm always in the area. I'm out here working and doing stuff and, around the city. When would be a good time for us just to go over there and walk through the property? Right. And then you go meet them, you take pictures, you can go home and kind of estimate what the price would be. You can get on DealMachine, and they have Alma on here, their AI, and you can ask what a good offer would be on it. If you don't know how to calculate numbers and all that stuff, you can go right in here and click the button and say, hey, what would be a good wholesale price on this property?
Yep, absolutely. So showing this off briefly, and I know you touched on the mail piece as well. The inbound calls, I mean, that is gold, like you said. And the coolest thing on here is when you hit send mail, you can just automate that whole thing. You hit send mail, sit back and wait for the calls to come in, and it tracks in DealMachine how many mailers you've sent. I was showing this earlier, like our mail center. You can see that I've sent 634 pieces this month. Here's how much I spent on that direct mail. Here's what they look like and where they went, when they were delivered on on this date, and it'll really break down that whole thing for you be able to know. Just sit back and wait for those calls to come in and automate the whole thing. And then, like you said, when you get in a conversation with an individual, you click on that property. This little bottom left corner is our AI assistant, where if you pull this up, and this is on our pro plan as well, you can go through and say like, yeah, help me analyze the property, or help me come up with questions to ask the seller, or help me with price negotiating. But the calculating the price is probably the number one use case for it. So coming in here and saying calculate the offer price, and it will actually go through and say, well, here's the MAO based on so max allowable offer based on what we think is the ARV times a 70% discount minus repair minus the wholesale fee, and it'll break that down for you. And then you can say like, oh yeah, actually, the repair costs are 100K. If I can put enough zeros in here, what is the new MAO? And it'll actually go back and forth and recalculate that for you based on your numbers. So
right, that's so awesome.
Yeah,
right. And that's it, guys. So you do that. That's the process. And you those inbound calls are so much better because they're people, they're in their mind. They're like, yeah, I do want to sell. Hey, I am going to call this person back. And the conversation is it's friendlier. You can ask questions they're willing to answer. Right. If you just call somebody out of the blue and start, hey, want to buy your house, how much do you owe on it and all that? They're like, whoa, who are you? What do you, like, why are you asking me all this stuff? But if they're calling you, they feel, I'm not going to say all the time, but a lot of the time they feel like, they've called you. So they're a little bit more obligated to, answer your questions. If you're, saying, well, how much you own the property, why are you selling it, what's wrong with it and all that. And then they'll be more forthcoming and tell you those things. Right. And then you come up with a, offer, a maximum allowable offer, and get it under contract. And it's just that easy. I know, if you're new, it seems a lot harder than that. But once you get one done, you're like, I didn't realize it was going to be so easy.
It changes the way you think. It absolutely does. And you realize it is possible. And it's the biggest thing across the entire board of what we see making people successful is by leading with action. It's getting out there and learning by doing. So that's something on our end. I know we had that. Is it just DealMachine.com/toolbox? Is that the best?
Let's put that up right now. If you guys, let's, get on DealMachine right now. Right there you go. DealMachine.com. I think it's /toolbox.
I think that's right. Yeah.
It's / right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
DealMachine.com /toolbox. Sign up, 7-day free trial. You get some bonus credits so you can go ahead and try the postcards out and do that kind of stuff. But I'm telling you, if you're going to drive for dollars, this is all you need. Get this and you're ready to go. You're ready to rock and roll. You don't have to skip trace. You don't have to spend any money on anything else.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, that alone, like you said, is the 7-day free trial to try this stuff out, try out the skip trace or the contact information at this point. Be able to, you get that included in your 7-day trial, and then you'll get 50 free postcards as well to be able to mail out to sellers and start doing deals. I mean, we've had people literally, you gotta get lucky in terms of timing. We've had people literally do deals during their free trial. Like, we just want to give you as much of this as possible to experience. And then, when that light bulb clicks or when that goes off and you understand like, hey, this is possible. I can make this happen. If I lead with daily consistent action, I can make big things happen. Like that's the point we want to get you guys to where you see that and go do that first deal and then after it. So
yeah, that's gold, Matt. And that's the key, taking action. Don't spend any more time going, you know what, I'm going to try to figure out how to build an AI bot that can go out on the internet and scan for leads and get DealMachine, get in your car and go make some money. Right. That's what you got to do.
You can always find reasons not to do it. And there's always, it's never convenient to go out there and start this. You just got to go for it. So it's something that like across the board, like I mentioned, we've had over 10,000 deals done using DealMachine at this point. Like that is the most common thing is by not overthinking it, getting out there, leading with action and learning through doing. So,
yeah. So there's where you sign up, DealMachine.com /toolbox. Matt and I are going to do some regular training on DealMachine. So if you want to hop into the community, my.wholesalingpartners.com, sign up for free, hop in there, and join the DealMachine Mastery Group. And we're going to go in there on a regular basis, as often as I can get Matt on video, and do some training for you guys. So not only are you out using DealMachine. We'll show you new features coming out, new tricks, tips, whatever to help amplify what you're doing. So that is it for today. Thanks, Matt. Man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, excited to help, and again, see you guys in the Wholesaling Partners community, and anything I can do to be helpful, I'm here to help, and go out there and happy deal finding.
Thanks, guys. Talk
Thanks,
to everybody soon.